last 8 months, certainly you've learned a lot of things. Is there anything that you think that what you've learned will affect how you think about specifically maybe a church facility, or we've done a master plan for you?
Yep.
And so could you talk a little bit about how that might influence our thinking when we go back to the drawing table and that becomes important? What do you, I mean, just, I know there's no for sure things out there.
Yeah,
how do you think about that?
Yeah, there's no like magic mirror. There's no real way to forecast the future and know, but it's going to change. I think the big thing that people have been saying, and I agree with this, all the pastors that I talk to, all the church I talk to, is that we've got to prepare ourselves that when this is over, we're not going back. And I agree with that. When you give people, it's kind of like creating a habit. There's a certain amount of time, you do it long enough, it becomes your norm, whether that's working out, eating differently, whatever. Well, we've just forced people into a habit, whether we like it or not, with COVID, into a new way of looking at the church, looking at life, looking at people, looking at community. And so we've created a habit that now the idea that we're going to all of a sudden get past this and we're going to break the habit and get them back to church in the way that they were is probably not a reality for most. And so the question is going to become, what do we do with our spaces? Do we need as big as spaces? Do we change the way the spaces are? Do you become a multi-site church now where smaller venues? Or is it the opposite where you've got to have big enough venues that people can be spread out moving forward, that they have a little bit of a, hey, I've gotten used to being 6 feet apart. I want to stay 6 feet apart. All the introverts said amen. But the reality is that we're going to have to figure out what are people looking for now, and it may not be what they were looking for 8 months ago. And so we go back to the drawing board. I think there's going to have to be a lot of work done on churches' sides to really know your people, know your audience, and say, what are you looking for now in church? What's the thing that draws you now that maybe wasn't what drew you 12 months ago or a year ago?
Absolutely.
And so I think the master plan is going to come back to what are you trying to accomplish now, because it may have changed. In fact, I'm going to convince more and more churches are going to have to designate much larger spaces to studio environments and places that they can record online and places they can create content for people that will never ever visit the doorstep of your church potentially. And so I think churches are going to have to move to a dual system of, we've got live experiences that are set up for your experience, for your kids, but we've also got online content for the people we not just want to reach that may come in person someday, but people that might never ever feel comfortable coming to a church ever, and they say, I've gotten used to being online, so what do you have for me? I think it's just a new vehicle we're going to have to explore and figure out how to operate.